So guys, this is the 5,000 subscriber Q&A video, where I will be answering the questions left on the community post. I will start from the first and answer every question to the best of my ability. Which meta boss fight was the best designed in your opinion? My favorite was probably Arizona meta because she didn't move much, and at the same time, you were able to use both slow and tanky vanguards as well as fast but squishier vanguards, as long as your vanguard ships were able to move out of the smoke screen fairly quickly. There was also not really much of a restriction on the types of main fleet ships you could use, so battleship fleets, carrier fleets, or a mix of both all worked provided you could do enough damage. Okay, moving on to the next question. Macaroni139 asks, John Bart needs a UR retrofit. Alright, next up. TheBurger1941 asks, when are you going to do a let's play of Turbo Overkill? I have no clue what that is. Next, Mr. Sean Fish asks, are Sam Hart 564's SAM valuations a trustworthy and reliable source of new ship evaluations? Okay, so as it turns out, there is a very easy way to tell if anyone's ship evaluations are good and not just Sam Hart's. If they agree with my evaluations, then they're trustworthy, but if not, then it's safe to disregard them. Next, cat last name 871A asks, big congrats on 5k, you deserve it and more. Curious, what are your personal Operation Siren fleets? Okay, I will put a screenshot up on screen. It might not be the best, but it's what I'm currently using, and I do make changes after pretty much every single event. Cat last name 8717 also asks, also maybe some kind of Gear Lab rundown please. I noticed you have a light cruiser gun on Emden in her second slot that I have never seen used in your latest video. For that gun in particular, I actually explained it in my first ever pointless min-maxing video. I will reply to your comment with the link of the video, so by the time this video is up, you can probably go check back and see why I'm using it. Most of the time, if I'm using some kind of non-meta equipment and I don't explain it in the video, it's probably because I've already made a video in the past talking about it, so feel free to look through the catalog to see if your questions have already been answered. Next, Stellarfriend asks, what's your favorite everything? Top 10 or so waifu ship girls. What ship do you want in the game, design-wise and or performance-wise? And if you could update Azur lane, what would you do? The first question is giving me a little bit of trouble, so I'm gonna have to tap out on that one. Top 10 or so waifu ship girls. Okay, I can do this one. Let me see. Kaga, John Bart, Bremerton, Baltimore, Anchorage, Cheshire, Plymouth, Vanguard, Yorktown, and FDG. This is just how I'm feeling today, and things could change depending on the day. Next, what ship do you want in the game? I want more SX classes that are as beautiful as Yorktown, or more J-class destroyers that are as cute as Janus. And then the last question, if you could update Azur lane, what would you do? Other than buffing the ships that I like, out of personal bias, I would probably like to add a customizable training dummy where you can do damage tests, so I can test game mechanics even outside of raid events. Okay, next, Graham5961 asks, since I'm a Northern Parliament enjoyer, I wonder how much do you like them and what's your favorite Russian ship? Also, do you think Soyuz would be a UR or an SSR? Northern Parliament is probably my 8th favorite faction, and my favorite Russian ship is gonna be Chapayev. And whether or not Soyuz will be a UR or SSR, let's just let the Italian and French have one UR before we start thinking about that. Next, Jackson's6596 asks, any ideas on the next UR ship? Yes, so for the upcoming IJN anniversary, rumors say that it will be a double UR release of Akagi and Kaga version 2s. Next, for the Big Win asks, if you could add a piece of gear/equipment into the game, what would it be and what would it do? What stats/properties/skill would you want it to have? Right now, what I want is the equivalent of a homing beacon and the opposite of a homing beacon thing that they recently added for battleships. Next, BenFan5534 asks, what type of music do you listen to? I listen to all sorts of music, with a preference for upbeat and chill. Recently, I've been listening to instrumental jazz, bossa nova, and classical. Next, Sores Nguyen 578 asks, why not designing all oath/wedding skin for all shipgirl? So it seems like there's a bit of a misunderstanding here. I actually don't work for Manju, so it's actually not my decision to not make oath skins for all the shipgirls. Next, Zajais asks, I got 2 for you. Are there any oath or skins you regret buying? And how do you feel about the story/lore of Azur Lane? As someone who joined in pretty late, I feel like it's so convoluted and fragmented through events that I can barely follow it. For the first question, I think since the quality of skins has gone up over time, obviously I'm gonna regret buying some of the older skins from like 5 years ago, since new skins for the same ships these days are of much higher quality. But it's whatever. And as for the story of the game, I actually don't know it, so that will have to wait until after I've read through the story. Next, Super Sarutobi Sensei asks, what gameplay changes do you think the devs can/should make to improve and reinvigorate the endgame experience? I think they could incorporate ship costs back into the game as some kind of challenges. That will give meaningful rewards such as gold plates or cog arrays. An example could be something like clearing chapter 14.3 with less than 300 oil spent, and they could change the condition maybe weekly. Next, Genjiro8966 asks, what's your current outlook on the game? Are you as engaged as you were when you started playing? What keeps you logging in? So right now I'm just cruising. Obviously, I'm not as engaged as I was when I first started playing, especially since I'm pretty much done with all the fleet tech that I want. What keeps me logging in is resetting my officers, unironically. Next, Crawling Pigeon 9223 asks, when's the Kaga skins tier list? I will make it when they bring back her old voice actress. Next, Cosma asks, got 2 for you. What would make you quit Azur Lane? And other mobile games like Honkai Star Rail are being released with a native desktop client/version for the game. Do you think we will also get one for Azur Lane? Would you want one? Also, you're kinda cool. For the first question, end of service would do it. Otherwise, if real-life obligations take up so much time that it's not feasible to continue playing, then I will do what I must. As for the desktop client version, I don't think that Azur Lane makes as much money as some of these other gacha games, and Yangshi already has their hands full developing the mobile version, so I'm not expecting to see a desktop client anytime soon. Next, James Young 151 asks, no questions, but congrats on reaching 5k. Thank you. Next, KMS Admiral Hipper asks, favorite bird? Of the ones I tried, duck has been the most tasty. And finally, Grizzly Pear 6314 asks, with so many URBBs, is there still a reason to choose Georgia? Sure, just use whatever makes you happy. And with that, we have reached the end of the 5,000 subscribers Q&A. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.